Alright guys, welcome back. So today we're continuing along with the Neca 2012 Tmnt line, and we're taking a look at number 6, the Shredder. Definitely wanted to pick this guy up, but I waited until I got the turtles in hand first, which I think might have been a little bit of a mistake, because I heard that the turtles had quite a lot of QC issues and stuff, and mine did have a few little flaws, but it wasn't like enough to make me dislike the figures, to be honest. Um, But yeah, I decided to order the shredder after the turtles, and instead of coming in October, he's in. He arrived in November. I guess they might not have had the stock or something, but at least we're getting to take a look at him now. Hopefully, it's not too late for you guys who were trying to get an idea of what this figure is like. So without further ado, let's crack this package open and see what we get inside. So getting right into the package details. Very, very nice illustration of Shredder on the front there. Probably done by the same guy, is it? Ciro Neely. Hopefully that was not butchered. You got Shredder number 6, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles on the side. At the back, I kind of wish they did a bio of Shredder instead of just pasting this same bio from the Turtles. And maybe add the front background to suit him. On the side, you could see more of that illustration that we were looking at on the other boxes. And if you look at all the boxes together, you can see more of that image being filled out. But clearly we're missing number 5, which is supposed to be foot soldiers. And then the shredder will be right after. But so far, it does look like it was shaping up to be a pretty cool packaging. I wonder if, like, once they continue on, if they're going to be adding more onto the end there. Guess we'll see. Taking a look at the inside of the flap. You can see the foot logo on the side there. And you can see Shredder on the inside, or his head is tilted at a strange angle, but he does still look pretty cool. So let's get him out of here. So before we get right into the details on the figure, I just wanted to mention that um, it was my expectation when seeing like photos and stuff of this figure that I was figuring that a lot of these spikes would have been made out of like rubbery plastic just to prevent him from breaking if he ever falls. But to my dismay, it's all hard plastic, all of it, even the shoulder pads. It's all hard plastic, so just be very, very careful. And I'll try to do the same, because if this figure falls off a shelf, you're going to have many, many broken spikes around the place. So with that said, let's get right into the details on Shredder. Taking a look at the face, it looks really, really cool. I was very surprised also to see that this helmet is actually removable. The helmet around the mouth and the side pieces here are a little bit more flexible, but this crest piece, definitely watch out for these because these might break very easily. But the helmet does look really good. I do like the details they put on it with the little hinges on it because these parts actually supposed to flex. But it does look really, really cool. And get right into the details on his actual head. Very, very well done. Um, Very gross looking and burnt as though he's meant to be. And you could kind of understand why he's so bitter and resentful. Because if I looked like that, I might be too. But it is really well done. Getting right into the spikes on the shoulder and stuff, they do look really good. All the metallic paint on the figure does look as it should, which is really nice. They did do some sort of soft goods cape on him there, and it can be removed, But not sure I like this attachment method because you basically slide it forward and it's like just two pieces of wire hooking around the shoulder pad. I mean, it works, but kind of wish it was a little bit more secure, so to speak. But this is it there, and you can actually, it clips around the two shoulder pads like that. But there's no wire in it or anything, it's just a piece of cloth basically. It does do the job. This chest piece here is actually a softer piece, not that it really matters because his arms can't really utilize that to go forward anymore or anything. But it's cool that they have it at least for the ab crunch. But getting right into the details on the arms and stuff. You can see those nice wraps going around there. And the gauntlets. A bit of a bulky design, but does look kind of cool. It works for this version of Shredder, I guess. Getting around to the back, you see this sort of ring thing he has on his back there. I'm not sure what that's for. A very angular back as well. You can see details on the belt. Very nicely and cleanly painted. And this sort of clip thing at the front there. These pieces are also joined onto the soft crutch piece, so it is actually flexible as well. But still can't get a full split though because of it. Kind of wish they start doing something different with their legs. Um, Instead of just relying wholly on this soft crutch piece, which doesn't really get you much range forward, and then you always warp the plastic when you leave it in a position for too long. Not a huge fan of that, to be honest. Getting right down to the legs. Never really liked the design of this shredder on the legs there. It kind of looks too Mega Man-ish to me with the huge boots, but it is accurate to the show. I was happy to see that they actually included swivel at the top of the armor and at the bottom of the armor, so that is pretty neat. But getting right down to the feet there, not too much to talk about. You can see it's in wraps, as mentioned. All these spikes all over the figure are extremely sharp as well too, so kind of be careful with that as well. But it really does look quite good, and very much like this version of Shredder. So one annoying thing about this removable helmet is you could articulate the head left and right, no problem. It is pretty good, but from the moment you try to articulate the head up or down, the helmet will move without the head because the head is actually quite stiff. So you actually have to like move the head first and then sort of put the helmet down to try to get that to get him to look up and stuff. So that is kind of annoying. I thought I'd mention that. I still am a bit skeptical about the decision to make all the spikes not rubbery, because this has a potential to be quite a disaster if it ever fell off a shelf. Um, and even in articulating some of the parts, I already knocked off one of these spikes and had to glue it back in. So just be careful with that. Getting right into the articulation on Shredder. His head does only go up about that much. Looks down about that much. Does have some tilt. So you can get the diagonal ups and diagonal downs and stuff. The shoulders do go up about this far. Just be very careful. Remember I said this is hard plastic, so be careful when articulating your shoulder, but it isn't going to go up any further than this, and it's not going to be able to rotate all the way around. So this is probably about as far forward as you're going to get him. He has no butterfly joints or anything, so his arm can't exactly go across his chest. He does have a bicep swivel, His elbows are double jointed, though the gauntlet prevents him from going any further than this. There is a swivel at the gauntlet itself. The hand does swivel and hinge, but it's kind of annoying to get to due to the fact that the spikes are coming out like that. There is a diaphragm joint at the torso, which allows him to crunch forward only about that much. And he could arch back not very much as well. They went with a sort of Marvel Legends style hip joint on him, which is kind of annoying. Like, then usually never do that kind of thing, but they decided to go with that. Fortunately, it doesn't look as bad on him as it does on a Marvel Legend, but I'd still rather not have that kind of joint. The legs do kick forward about that far. Kicks back about that far. Can get a split about this far. The knees are double jointed and gets you about this much range, which is not too bad. As mentioned, there is a swivel at the top of the armor, and there is a swivel at the bottom of the armor. The foot does kick forward about this far, kicks back about that far, and then he does have the ankle rocker. With the helmet on, he's only going to look up about that much, look down about that much, and he still does get some tilt despite the helmet design. So that is quite cool. So for accessories, Shredder does come default and packaged with the 2 fists. He does come with 2 open gesture hands. And he does come with 2 grabbing hands. He does come default and packaged with the sort of serious face. And then he does come with a more pissed off, angry face. And this is what I was talking about. These hooks just keep coming out, which is kind of annoying. But the head, much like the default one, is pretty cool looking and painted really well to show those nasty burns and stuff. And even the messed up eye. But it really does look good. And the helmet can also fit on this head sculpt as well. Though it does tend to look quite similar to the other one once the helmet's on. It's come with 4 of these long blades, 2 for each side. And they are painted very similarly to the rest of his armor. Just a nice silver tone on it there, and no other paint really. And how you attach those is you'll see those little peg holes down on the side there. There's one there, one in the middle, one on the end. You're putting these on either of the ends. It's a bit of a pain sometimes to get in there, but it's not impossible. Of course, once those are in, it becomes slightly more scarier than he was before. Just put the last one in there. And now we have Shredder with the full-on clawed look. And he does look pretty badass with those. He does come with these 2 sort of arrow-shaped blades. And these are painted the exact same way. Nice metallic silver. And these plug into the middle porthole that you see right there. And here's how he looks with those on. He usually uses those to threaten his henchmen and stuff. And lastly, in keeping with the smaller companions that we see with the turtles and stuff, Shredder does actually come with a krang. And this thing is painted really, really nicely. I do like the paint that they put on the eyes there. It does very, very striking. But the krang is detailed extremely nicely. Looks almost just like they do in the show. Even the underneath here, it's kind of gross. I was wondering why they gave him gripping hands, but then I remembered there was some scene in the show where he grabbed one of them and held them up like this, so more than likely that's why. So for height, Shredder does stand slightly over 7 inches tall to the top of his head, and about 7.5 inches tall to the top of the crest. Here he is next to McFarlane Nightfall Batman. Marvel Legends Captain America, a Black Series Mando, a Neca Mirage Michelangelo, and then here's how he looks next to the 2012 TMNT. We have Mikey, Raph, Donnie, and Leo. So in closing, I think the figure is pretty nice. He does look very nice. The paint and stuff on him is pretty good, and the general look of him versus 3D model is very accurate. But there's a couple nitpicks I have about this figure. One, I don't like the attachment method for that cape. I think it's very ghetto. I could come up with something better than that in my sleep. So I think a company like Neca should have at least a little bit better method of attachment for the capes. Secondly, that helmet kind of annoying to pose the head. Left and right, no problem. Up and down, the helmet will try to slip off because the head is very stiff. So that could be kind of annoying and something to keep in mind. So another thing I'd have to say is the spikes on the figure. As much as it's cool to have hard, spiky, actual spikes on your shredder, it's not very good if he falls off the shelf or something, because those spikes will break very easily, especially that crest on the helmet. So just be very careful. Goes without saying, don't put him too close to any edges and stuff like that, because if he does tumble off that shelf, it's going to be a bad time. And lastly, I think Neca should try to improve the articulation on their figures going forward. I think butterfly joints and that sort of thing have become something of a standard in the industry now, and it'll be nice to see Neca incorporate those things into their figures as well, and I think it could improve quite a lot. But other than that, I do like the figure, and I have to apologize for taking so long to do this review. I did move apartments, and then at the end of that move I got sick, and it wasn't even a sickness I could just tank and do the review, because I lost my voice for quite a few days. So finally back up and at it again, and hopefully the review is not too late to help some folks in getting this figure. But nonetheless, hope you all enjoyed the review. Hope this helps anybody who's on the fence about getting this figure, and until next time, y'all take care.